Welcome to the Warrior Woodshop. On this episode, we're going to review the Milwaukee 23 gauge battery operated pin nailer. Being a high school woodworking teacher and woodshop, the students and I are often asked to do minor repairs, upgrades where we can to the building, things like that. For example, one of these repairs is a bottom of a desk drawer has fallen out. This one's not a big deal to hook up the air hose and work within the shop, but for one little thing, it's sometimes annoying. That's where the battery comes in. It's real handy. The other place this 23 gauge pin nailer is going to come in real handy is when we have to travel to the front office to put up a piece of trim. So we'll show you both those installations. We also used this pin nailer in a laminate flooring situation in my family home where we had to put in all the cord around, and that was solid oak. So the short story is I'm very impressed with this thing. So you might be thinking, here we are in the Warrior Woodshop, we have multiple air locations. You can see one of them behind me. What's the need to invest in a more expensive air or battery powered system when you have multiple air supply locations? In fact, for at least 10 years now, we have had what we call the Harbor Freight Special 23 gauge pin nailer. We probably use this 3-4 times a year, so we didn't really want to invest $100 in a name brand one at the time. And we said we'll replace it when it wears out. Here it is 10 years later, it is still going strong. So again, what's the need for the battery powered upgrade? And it basically came down to a remodeling situation. We are basically, a couple weeks ago, we went to my childhood home and installed over 500 square feet of snap together laminate flooring. And being an active lived in home in the middle of the summer, running a hose from outside in the garage and leaving the door partially open is hard on the air conditioner. So bringing the air compressor inside was a noise and dust and hose situation running around room to room. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to invest in the Milwaukee 23 gauge pin nailer system. On most 23 gauge pin nailers, common to the Milwaukee one also, is there's a double trigger. So when you grab the handle, you have to push down the trigger before and you notice the light comes on. I'm not going to get near the trigger. The light comes on, and now this is operational. If I was to touch the trigger, it would fire a nail. So you have to be a little bit more careful when you're operating a 23 gauge pin nailer. The reason for that type of safety, because if you look at a standard 18 and 16 gauge brad nailers and finish nailers, there's a spring-loaded tip. Well, the reason they can't put a spring-loaded tip on the small nailers is just for that. It is the size of the nail is so small that the tip would get in the way and prevent it from doing its actual purpose. So they've got an alternate safety system on these, so you need to be really careful and be aware of that when you are using a 23 gauge pin nailer. So we have been working on one battery for approximately 150 to 200 linear feet of 1/2 inch thick base shoe, which is a narrow quarter round if you're not familiar with what base shoe is. So the fact that the battery is showing 2 out of 4 after 150 plus feet of base shoe, I'm very impressed with what the 2 amp hour battery can offer. I don't see the need to going to the bigger battery, but that's personal preference. So let's demonstrate what this thing will do. We got a couple of job opportunities here. Being the start of the school year, everybody comes, hey, my drawer, in this case, my drawer broke in the desk. Can you fix it? We did some new wainscoting in the front office. We got to put a couple pieces of trim up. And that's where the big advantage is going to come in, because all we have to take is this little kit and our 2 pieces of trim. We don't have to drag an air hose and a compressor. So for the remodeling venue, this is the way to go. Open it up. The only thing you need to pay attention to when you use pinless nails or headless pin nails is you pay attention to the directional arrow so they're installed correctly. What's the advantage of a pin nailer over a brad nailer or finish nailer? It's honestly the size of the nail. There is some overlap in lengths. Like for example, this goes up to 1 1/4. The brad nailer goes from 3/4 to 2 inches. The finish nailer goes from 1 inch to 2.5. So your length is one situation that you have to deal with. But the major reason people use pin nailers is the diameter of the nail. 23 gauge, brad nailer is 18 gauge, finish nailer is 15 or 16 gauge depending on your model. The other reason for the diameter consideration is you don't split your trim out and covering it up. Again, I'm impressed with it. There's not much to it. We do have a video on nail gun safety. Everything that applies to a air-powered nail gun also applies to a battery-powered nail gun. The only difference is to disconnect the power and to be safe, you remove the battery rather than unhook the air hose. That's really the only change. It does have a nice belt clip. I don't know if we use that. Let's demonstrate its use here on repairing this desk, which again, we're right next to an air hose, but we're going to demonstrate and try out our new tool again. And then we'll head up to the front office and we'll show you some clips of using and installing the trim there, and a little bit of the cord round from the family home remodeling job. All right, now that you've seen the Milwaukee 23 gauge 12 volt battery operated pin nailer in use, and by the way, we purchased this with our own money, not school funds, my own personal money. We're not sponsored by any of the tool companies that you see or other vendors. But hopefully you're as impressed with it as I am, and have no regrets about purchasing this one. Remember, safety first while we're looking over this thing. Overall, we give it a Warrior Woodshop A-. The tool gets an A+. As far as the overall package, I don't know if I need 2 batteries. It would be nice. Obviously, you can upgrade or additionally purchase a second battery. Again, like we said earlier, I don't recommend this. They do work though, the pedestal batteries, because again, it just makes it harder to get in the corners. The reason for the A- is the case. There's a pocket up top here for nails and other things like that. It doesn't have a zipper or a locking area, so I noticed when some of that stuff slides out. I am a hard case fan. Now, instead of this getting a B+ or a B, the case is pretty durable. The reason I like the hard case is it can stack in the tool room, it can stack in the back of the truck, in the trailer, etc. This one is a rigid, semi-rigid case, so it seems to stack pretty well. And also within the case, there are Velcro straps to hold the charger and battery in place. When you're in a hurry, sometimes you tend to forget to put those in. The battery one is a bungee cord type, so it goes in there pretty easy, kind of forcing you to undo the battery so during travel time. But again, I'm just a good old-fashioned hard case preference type of person. But overall, I threw this in the back of the van to take it up to the front office, and it traveled very well. So overall, Warrior Woodshop A-, like we said. Hopefully you got something out of this video, and I'm ready to investigate others of the battery operated tool venue from Milwaukee. My son has the T50 stapler, 12 volt, so maybe we'll review that because we also have a pneumatic version of that here in the shop. So thanks for watching. If you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button, like, and leave a comment on whether you would buy this one or not. And we'll keep doing tool reviews if we get a thumbs up from you. So thanks for watching. All I have to say is go out and make some sawdust.